Morning everyone. Well, today I wanted to talk about communal narcissism. Unfortunately, we see in many horse groups around the world a lot of bickering and politics get involved, especially when it comes to wild horses. You see people who were friends for many years have major fallings out, never to become friends again. You get people taking sides, you get keyboard warriors, you get all kinds of nasty things. But ultimately, it comes down to different ideas and one person thinking that their own ideas are more important than another person's. Some people are downright malicious, and there are people involved in these groups who are communal narcissists. Communal narcissists are one of the hardest type of people to recognise because they very cloak and dagger in the way they go about doing things. So they build rapport as fast as they can. They appear to be extremely altruistic, and so they garner for themselves support base. They can be charismatic. There's a lot of personality traits that you think, wow, that person's a really nice person, or that person really knows what they're talking about, and that person, donates huge amounts of money to the cause. But most of their behaviour is all aimed at increasing leverage for themselves. And once they get to a certain amount of power, or they feel comfortable, then they will turn on anybody, including their own friends at times, and lay them low if they think that they're being criticised. So it's one of the things that you really have to watch out for in horse groups, in the horse world, and particularly in wild horse groups. I see it all the time, unfortunately, and I stand up against it because I think it's a very negative attribute, but it also is part of social media these days, and bullying, as we know, is rife. We know that many people end up with severe mental health issues because they've been bullied online. Just something worth considering when you're a part of a group, to practice courtesy and kindness. It really costs you nothing. Hi everyone. Well, today I wanted to talk about the serious issue of cyberbullying in the horse world. One of the things that I've noticed over the last couple of years is the intensity of hate campaigns people get towards one another in the horse world. It's really very unpleasant to see, and what I've realised is that in the social media world, bullies who were once isolated in the public forum get to come together. And when they come together, they build support groups of bullies. And then they will target and isolate certain individuals or certain groups. And it becomes intensely nasty and really affects people's mental health. Sorry, I'm going to probably have to move here. The parrots and budgies are in the tree above me, going absolutely nuts. So we all want to be liked on social media, and we all want to be a part of a group and to fit in. The problem is that people will accept and put up with nasty behaviour and combative sort of conversations online so that they can fit in. It never works in the long run, because all it does is highlight the inadequacies in ourselves and gives people who are narcissists an opportunity to really wreak havoc in somebody else's life. This has got to stop, and we need to reflect on our own behaviour before we target others. Most noticeable I see is in the brumby horse world, because that's where I tend to focus. I run a group, and in that group there's a lot of people from a lot of different sort of backgrounds and with a lot of different ideas. And unfortunately sometimes those ideas clash. But look, I'm all for diverse opinions. What I don't like is to see people attack one another for whatever reason. Billy is going to be silly because he wants attention and I'm giving it to the camera. So bear with me, people. I push him off because he's being naughty. But look, brumbies are a really big issue, and it's something that, if we want to save them, we really have to make a big effort to stop it, to come together and work with each other. Hang on, I'll go and get Billy's brush so he can be brushed. So we don't always have to be right about everything. That's one of the first things that you have to come to terms with in the horse world, is that there are times where we are wrong or we say things that aren't 100% right, but it doesn't give people the right to go on a rampage of attack and start tearing down other people's feelings and their thoughts. None of us are perfect. We all make mistakes, and it's something that we need to consider before we go on a rampage and start attacking other people. Most people aren't narcissists, but it's an area where narcissists have a field day because they're all about self-promotion. They're all about being the biggest and the strongest, you know, being the one that everyone admires. So they're constantly seeking attention, whether it's good or bad attention, but they're constantly out there trying to make out that they're the saviour of the brumby world. Well, the reality is that we all play a part, no matter how small or large it is. We play a part, and it's a necessary part, because brumbies need saving, and it doesn't matter which group of brumbies they are, whether they're Kosciuszko brumbies, Victorian brumbies, brumbies in the New South Wales region, whether they're brumbies in the Northern Territory, whether they're brumbies in Western Australia or South Australia, they all need our help. There's plenty of brumby groups around that focus not just on one group but on many groups. And so what I try and do with the Australian Brumby Association is I try to give everybody a voice. I don't like negative voices, and I occasionally will write about negative voices, but as a rule I give everyone a fair go unless they're getting into what I think is narcissistic or combative type behaviour, and that isn't acceptable. You know, I make plenty of room for people who have differences of opinions and ideas, and I accept that. No two people are the same. But at the end of the day, we've got to be courteous and kind to one another. Otherwise it just ends up in continual warfare like schoolyard bullies. And personally I won't have it. I didn't set up the group to be like that. I set it up to give everybody an opportunity to voice their thoughts, to show off their brumbies, to support the cause. I'm not into absolutes, never have been, because there's no such thing as an absolute. When I make my videos, whether it's you know, for fun, I'm always trying to highlight brumbies, and I use Bill of course because he's my brumby, to try and portray them in a positive light. There's nothing worse than spending hours and hours trying to, you know, highlight the benefits of owning a brumby, only to go online and find that people are doing their darndest to war with one another and put the rest of the horse world off. It just doesn't work, people. You know, you've got to be fair-minded and realise that none of us will have exactly the same thoughts or ideas, but it doesn't mean to say we have to tear each other down. You know, it just doesn't work. And it shouldn't be like that. We should be able to get on with one another. We should be able to enjoy our brumbies. I love seeing other people's brumbies. I absolutely adore seeing their work. I enjoy looking at their... I don't care if they put bloody 15 posts on a day. Billy's going to try and get my camera. Sorry. Sorry people, but this naughty brumby's always after my bloody camera. I don't know why, but he does. Anyway, you know, keep putting up your posts, give your ideas, just don't be negative about it. He's still trying. I'm going to have to shift this around. Bear with me, people. I have a naughty horse. As you can see, my horsey, my little red war pony, is a bit of a naughty boy. He can't help himself. Oh, did you fart, Billy? It stinks. Mr. Windy Tummy. But anyway, it's my thoughts, and if you've joined our group, I want to say thank you. I appreciate it. I want people to know that yes, I do miss things at times. I don't always stay on top, but that's why I've also got moderators and helpers who I expect to also contribute and to take note if there's something that's not right or someone's put a nasty post on there. Just be mindful and, you know, be kind to one another. There's so much strife in this world that it's just not right to be mean to one another. So, you know, try a little kindness. It works. And keep promoting your brumbies, not tearing them down. Look, you know, it's too easy to be mean, but I tell you what, it takes a lot less work to be kind to one another. So be kind, practice kindness, and, you know, let's change Australians' opinions. Let's change the world's opinion on our wild horses and show them just how good our brumbies really are. You know, who would have thought that this boy here would have turned out to be the horse that he is? I mean, he's an absolutely gorgeous horse, and you know, when he was in the auction yards, he was destined for the slaughterhouse, and here he is many years later, being my companion, my best mate, my buddy, a good friend, my helper. And yes, he's naughty and funny, but that's how I love him. That's why I love him, is because he's a character. But he's also very smart, and you know, he's my bubby. He's my big bubby. And he loves nothing better than to be groomed. Oh, you're my handsome boy, aren't you? You know, bonding is, whether just grooming or spending time with your horses, is so important. They need it. Bill's like a big dog. He needs to have attention, and if he doesn't get attention, he gets naughty. So I try and spend as much time as I can with him, although life gets very busy at times, and like all people, sometimes I get caught up in things that I'm doing rather than spending the time with Bill and Bella. Bella's not as needy as Bill is. So she normally just wants her morning cuddle, and so whereas he would have cuddles all day long, and he wants games and he wants treats. He's after my damn shoes again. I don't know why, but Bill has hang-ups about cameras, brushes and my shoes. Don't you, mister? And he loves his neck being done. I don't know why. I don't know why you love your neck being done so much, but you do, don't you, darling? Such a handsome man. I'll come back up with some treats soon, okay? Just bear with me. Bear with me. Alright, Bill and I are going to walk together, but I know he's after my damn camera. He can't help himself. Halt! I'm telling you, do not do it. Halt! He needs a bit of work today. Somehow I have to get past him. Oh dear. He's in a mood, as you can see. I knew he was in a mood. Billy? Is he being naughty, Bella? Yep, he's got a stick in his mouth. Yes, I knew you were in a mood.